I'm Amanda with Pear Blossom Press, and today I'm going to show you how to make our Let Your Dreams Take Flight card. It's got a peacock feather where we're going to curl the edges, and then a couple paper feathers that we turn into arrows. Makes a very nice happy birthday card. When you get your kit in the mail, you'll notice that you've got a full color instruction sheet, and then we'll go through the different parts of the card. Make sure you have it. There'll be enough to make 2 cards. If you haven't used floral tape before, I'll show you how to use that. We've got some foam tape, a few dyed chicken feathers. You'll have gold cording. There'll be a few small glitter rectangles that will turn into arrowheads. You'll have rhinestone stickers, pattern paper and glitter paper. You'll also have your feather template. In the kit, you should also have a pair of peacock feathers, some envelopes, you'll have skewers that will turn into the arrows, and then your pre-printed cardstock. You'll notice it's hard to see on the video here, but it's already scored for you. Some things that you'll want to make sure that you have as well: a pen, you'll want a bone folder, a sharp pair of scissors. If you don't have a bone folder, that's okay, I'll show you what you can use instead. You'll also want a good wet glue, and a couple of clothespins will be handy too. Okay, so we'll follow the directions. The first thing you're going to do is take your cardstock, fold this in half. To get a good crease, if you have a bone folder, you'll want to use it. If you don't have a bone folder, you can always use the back side of your scissors. Just a blunted edge, you don't want to use anything really sharp. But that'll give you a good sharp crease here. And then you can go ahead and set this aside. We're going to start working on the peacock feather. So you'll notice it's really long. We're gonna just go ahead and trim that down. And you can discard the rest or save it for another project. To get the tips curly, you'll use the back side of your scissors and your thumb, and you're gonna really gently curl the tips like you would do curling ribbon. And just play with it a little bit until you get curls in the shape that you'd like. If any of the little pieces fall off, that's fine. You can wrap them back in with it or discard them. But just play with it until you get something that you like. Next step for this is going to be to take your skewer, or one of your skewers. You will have 4 because you're going to make 2 arrows per card. So take one of your skewers, and then I'm just holding it here next to the card so that I make sure I don't make it too long. There's about 1.5 inches of wood behind the feather, just so that it fits on the card. Your envelope's a little longer, so if it sticks off the edge, that's totally fine, it'll still fit, but just try to keep it somewhat to the length of the card. If you haven't used floral tape before, you'll notice that it's not very sticky. It really only sticks to itself, and you have to pull and stretch the tape to make it stick to itself. It's kind of got like a wax coating, and it's a little tricky. It doesn't always stick right away to itself, so you can just play with that a little bit, wrap it around. You only need a few times and you'll notice it'll start gripping, but there is a lot of tension as I'm pulling this. And then once you've got it where you want it, wrapped around there nicely, just tear it off, and the edges will just stick right into itself. All right, so you've got the first part of the arrow done. Now what we're going to do is take one of those little glitter rectangles, and you can use the tip of your scissors or a bone folder if you've got it, even one of the skewers itself to press into there. What we're really going to try to do is crease a triangle. And I'm just going from the center out to the edges, the bottom edge there. And it's hard to see here, but I've basically just put in 2 lines. Now we'll fold it over. And I'm putting a little notch here because I didn't get it exactly centered. You can just play with it. It's not critical. You'll notice that there's little tips that hang off. I'm just trimming those away. There you go. Once you've got it basically how you like it, I'm gonna add some wet glue. If you were to use a dry tape runner, it wouldn't be a strong enough bond, so that's why I'm using tacky glue here. It's a little slippery. So you'll go ahead and start getting it in place. Stick your tip of your skewer in there. And then you can use a clothespin to hold it. You'll want to make sure that the arrowhead and the feather match up there so that you don't have one twisted in a different direction. The next thing you're going to do is take your feather patterns and you're going to cut 2 feathers from each piece of paper. The larger one is for the glitter paper, the smaller feather goes onto the pattern paper. So go ahead and cut the patterns out, trace 2 onto the back of each piece of paper, and then you'll cut those out. And for me it was easiest to cut out the shape and then add the notches afterwards. So you should have 2 of each, but we're only going to use 1 for each card. Add a little bit of bling to your pattern paper feather. We're going to use a rhinestone sticker. And I started with it near the top, and you'll notice there's a little bend to the feather. That's okay. If you attach it at the top and then at the bottom, and then you can just sort of place the rest, move it around a little bit. There's a little give to that sticker. And then you can just press it down. Once you've got it adhered, you'll want to kind of fold the feather. The rhinestone sticker is acting like the bone of the feather. So I give a little fold for dimension. With the glitter paper, if you were to fold it, the glitter is going to start cracking and coming off. So I left that flat. And then we layer the pattern paper feather on top. And you've got several different chicken feathers to play with. See which one you like the best. For this one, I ended up liking the blue dyed feather the best for what I was going for, but you can play with it however you'd like. Once you've got a combination that you like, again, make sure that you give yourself a little bit of space on the back of that skewer so that you don't have it up too high and that it'll fit on the card. And you're going to use that floral tape again to wrap the feathers around. Just keep them layered, pinch them together, wrap them around that skewer, and there you have it. We're going to repeat the same process to make the arrowhead with another little glitter paper rectangle. And once you've got a nice crease in your arrowhead, you can fold it up, glue it all together. Make any trimmings that you need to. and you go ahead and clip it and let it dry. Once they're dry, you're going to go ahead and take both of the arrows. They're a lot of fun just like this. You can use these for scrapbook embellishments as well. They'd be cute holding a little banner. But for this card, we'll go ahead and layer them here. And you'll note that I put the pattern paper, the arrow that has the paper feathers on the bottom and the peacock feather on the top. I did this on purpose so that when we add the foam tape to hold them together, you'll have better gluing spots. So before we actually tape it down, we're going to tie it together with gold cord. I wrapped it around a couple times and then just tie a little knot. Once you've got basically where you want it, go ahead and tie it tight. It'll still move around a bit. And then trim the edges. You don't want really long tails hanging off. That looks silly. Now we're going to use the foam tape to go ahead and adhere it. And when you place your foam dots on there, you're going to want to make sure that you put whichever arrow is closest to the card. In this case, we purposely put the paper feather there. You're going to put the foam dot right onto the paper, not onto the skewer, so that it will lie fairly close to the bottom. And now we're going to put the foam tape on the peacock feather skewer. It won't stick to the feather so well, so as long as you have that one on top, you have the extra dimension from the skewer and the tape. And on the paper feather, it's about the same thickness as the skewer, so it just works out nicely if you do it that way. And then you just peel off the little protective paper on top, turn it over, make sure you get them where you want them, and push them down. Very simple. Foam tape is great. It holds all kinds of stuff in place. And these are very lightweight, so a dot on either end is fine. There you go, that completes the front of the card. And the one last thing to do is to make sure you sign your name at the back. It's a little piece of art that you've created, so you should definitely sign it. Now you can repeat the whole process again and have a second card, and they're ready to go. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.